In this video, I'll be talking about utilizing the convert time zone feature within Microsoft Power Automate. Now, the use case for this is say, take for example, I'm in a location. So I'm in Brisbane city and Brisbane is UTC plus 10. Now, Australia has another city named as Sydney, and Sydney is also UTC plus 10. Now, the only difference between these two cities in terms of time zone is that Sydney observes daylight savings. Now, when both the cities are in UTC plus 10 time zone, if it is, say, 7 p.m. in Brisbane, it will be 8 p.m. in Sydney. Now, I got a request from a user that user was building some Power Automate application, and then it was still showing Sydney's time and it was not showing Brisbane time. So this is specific to my city, but then this will happen at multiple places in different countries as well. So I just want to show you how to utilize those time zone conversion feature within Microsoft Power Automate. So you navigate to make.powerautomate.com, and in this example, I'm just going to use an instant cloud flow, and I'll just name it time zone converter. Manually trigger a flow, as this is just an example. So I'll just click on new and then time. So if I just type in time, I will see date time and I'll see more options. Then you have something called as convert time zone. Okay. So I'll just select this convert time zone over here. And then what it will do, it will basically ask you what is the base time. So what is the base time you want to convert? Now here I can write a simple formula and I will say fx, say UDC now. Click on add. Now UTC is basically universal time, coordinated universal time. And here this is the source time. So source time will be universal coordinated time. Now the destination time would be, say, take for example, if I pick up, say, city as, say, Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne, Sydney. And here I can specify the date time pattern. I'll just pick up, say, general date time pattern with G. Okay. I'll just keep this simple. Now I'll click on save, and I will also do one more thing. I will add another convert time zone. So maybe I'll just do a copy action. Click here, right click, and paste an action. So same thing, convert time zone, but here this is Brisbane, this is Sydney, and here I will say convert time zone to Brisbane. And same thing, just instead of destination time zone as Sydney, I'm gonna pick up Brisbane. So UTC plus 10 and Brisbane, and I'll save it. Now test this. So once it is saved, I'm gonna test this, run the flow, click on done. Now this is what you're going to do if you want to have like the time zone converted. You have this object, you can utilize this, and then it will automatically convert that into specific time zone. So in Sydney, as you see over here, it has given me the time as 3rd Feb base. So this is the base time, so 3rd Feb and 9:59 in the morning, and the converted is 8:59 p.m. the same day. Okay, so Sydney is 8:59 p.m. and Brisbane is 7:59. Both are belong to UTC plus 10, but the difference between Sydney and Brisbane is this text. So if you see Brisbane, it is Australia Standard Time, and for Sydney is Aus Eastern Standard Time. So although they belong to that same time zone, you will have this different value. Now it is essential to remember this value because this value you're going to use more frequently. Okay. Now it's very difficult to get all the values for all the time zone, right? So Microsoft has a documentation for default time zones. Okay. Now here you will see the whole bunch of list of different time zones. So if you search for, say, Sydney, you will see that text Canberra, Melbourne, Sydney. You'll see Aus Eastern Standard Time. Now, if you go over here, Aus Eastern Standard Time, Sydney. However, for Brisbane, if you search for Brisbane, So let me search for Brisbane. You will not be able to find that value because this documentation may not have all the information you need. Now, if you want to get the exact value for this particular thing, and if this documentation does not suffice, what you can do is you can make use of command line utility. So I have this command line utility within my system. So I'll just say CLS, and there's a command line utility called as tzutil. So tzutil is basically a time zone utility for Windows. So if I just type tzutil slash L, it will list down all the time zones that are available. Now here, what we were searching for is Brisbane. So you'll see UTC plus 10. There is a Canberra, Melbourne, Sydney, and here you will find Aus Eastern Standard Time, and here you will see E Australia Standard Time. Now this is pretty much important. Now this text E Australia Standard Time or Aus Central Standard Time or CEN Australia Standard Time. Now where are you going to use this? Okay. Now this one is used when you are going to make use of formula. So I'm going to show you that example as well. Okay. So take for example you are in Power Automate, and then let me get rid of these two objects. Okay, so we have worked on this ready-made object over here. Let me make use of a compose object over here. So I'll just select the compose object. Now here in compose I can write a lot of things, right? Now here if I want to write, say, first I will say base time. So the base time is basically, I'll write a function, and this is my base time. So this is UTC now. Click on add. I'll say Sydney time, Brisbane time, and one example for New York. Okay, so yeah. So Sydney time, if you want to specify what should be the Sydney time, there is a formula called as convert from UTC. So I'll just type in convert from UTC, and then specify what is the base time. So the base time is UTC now, and what is that value you want to convert to. So in my case, I will just type in Aus Eastern Standard Time. So remember the formula. If you want to get the Sydney time, you just copy this text. So I'll just copy this and paste it over here and click on add. And this is how you can get this. Similarly, I'll just copy this code and I will paste it over here. So I'll just paste it for Brisbane and New York, the same thing, and I'm going to change the value soon. So for Sydney, Aus Eastern Standard Time. However, for Brisbane, this value should be changed. Now for Brisbane, go to the command prompt and copy this text, E Australia Standard Time. So copied it, and instead of this, just copy and then paste this value. So E Australia Standard Time for Brisbane and Aus Eastern Standard Time for Sydney. Let's see what is there for New York. Okay, so uh, let me search. So you can even search this within this documentation. So here in this documentation, if I just type in New York, maybe I'm not able to get this. Let us search in here. So just go on the top, and you'll see a whole bunch of UTC -3, -2, plus 10, Santiago, Ascension, Atlantic Time, Havana, Eastern Time, US and Canada. So if you want to find out that, so let's pick up this value. Say, let's pick up Eastern Standard Time. So I'll just copy this Eastern Standard Time and go to Power Automate over here. Say, just paste it over here. This. So like this, if you're using a formula and if you want this text, you can go to the Microsoft documentation, or if Microsoft documentation does not have the comprehensive list, make sure that you use tzutil, and then within tzutil, you should be able to get those information. And in that same documentation of Microsoft has specified the command, so tzutil slash L. So if you want to get the most current list of time zones, make sure that you use this command. Now, once you're done with it, just save, and let's test this Power Automate flow. So this flow is run. Let's look into the compose. So as you see in the compose, base time is 10 a.m. in the morning, Sydney time 9 p.m., Brisbane 8 p.m., and New York is 5 a.m. in the morning. So this is how you can basically use the conversion. So that's it, folks. This is how you use uh, the time zone converter functionality available within Microsoft Power Automate. Thanks for watching.